I moved back home in my 20s and I thought it was going to be a little bit different than it is now. I moved back home about 4 months ago, I think. It was in November of 2025. And the reason why was just because after having a very hard year and quickly having to figure things out myself, I realized that I was living paycheck to paycheck. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I need to save up money. I need to go back home because as much as I had the ability to be by myself and be independent, I still felt like I was trapped in a way and that I really couldn't do much. I still was able to be social with my friends every now and then, but it wasn't always as much as I wanted to be. I didn't think that I didn't want to be in a relationship either because I didn't have the money to. I didn't even have the money to like do things and spend money on myself on things that I would enjoy. So why would I be able to do it for someone else? And in my head, the best solution was to move back home. I thought this would be the smartest move I can make financially. I thought I was going to move back home, save up money, and then within a year, I was going to move back out and eventually move to my dream place, which was New York. And it still is. New York is still the place that I want to live currently, but things have definitely changed. And I just want to go and I realized a few things and I just want to talk about things that like they people don't tell you when it comes to moving back home, the reality of moving back home in your 20s or even in your 30s. I'm 22. I'm turning 23 next month, but this is just my experience and the things that I have heard from other people and my and how I relate to some and how I don't relate to others. The reason why I moved back home was, like I said, I was living paycheck to paycheck. The beginning of last year, 2025, I had to drop out of college. I was 6 months away from graduating with the bachelor's in social work, and I was working to get my master's in social work. But as a military child, I am able and grateful enough to get benefits, which is the GI Bill. Unfortunately, they did miscalculate how much money they were that I had left. It was gonna run out by that year. I knew that. The money was a little bit more than we expected. I wasn't able to cover it, so I moved back. I flew back home to Seattle, which is where I went to school. And within about 3 weeks, I moved out of my one bedroom apartment that I had and moved into a studio apartment that I found within a week. That was one of the most grateful things ever. And I just went full time at my job and it was working really well for me until it wasn't. My job, I worked at a gym. They were always doing budget cuts. They were always doing this and that. My hours were always getting affected. And so eventually the bill started piling up on me. And then I also had to pay the school back for the money that I owed them. So things were just stacking up. So I thought, okay, this is not good. And for a moment I was caught up. My dad helped me out. And then I wasn't caught up. And I was living paycheck to paycheck again. And I was just like, I thought I was out of this. And apparently I wasn't. I not only had bills to pay when it came to my rent, but I had to buy groceries. I had to also like go to the dentist. I had to get a root canal 1 month. I just had to like have so much money when it came to the cost of living in Seattle, which is not it's not cheap. Living in Seattle is not cheap whatsoever when it came to it. The rent, the utilities, the groceries, the social life that you want to have as well. And then also just not also having insurance. So I had to pay a lot out of pocket just because with my job, it was very difficult to get benefits. And once I did, they ended up going on a freeze. So I had to wait a few more months. And by the time that I left that job, it was going to kick in. And I was just like, I'm already leaving. I told myself that me moving back home is going to be a temporary situation. And within the past week, I've realized that I don't know how temporary it's gonna be. I thought I would have like at least a year, but I think I might have to push over a year, which is heartbreaking to me. It very much is. I expected to save money and just reset my body, my mental state, my physical state, my emotional state, and start again new, especially since I don't have a degree and all my friends and the people that I basically went into adulthood with, they are at a different stage in life than I am. And in the people that I like, the friends that I like, the friendships that I cultivated in college that are a part of my like adult friendship life, like they are at a different stage than I am. And so I was like, this is going to be so good for me because then I will be able to play catch up. I was going to get a job. I was going to save money. I didn't have to pay rent. I was going to go back to school, and none of that has happened. It has been very, very impacting on me, for sure. And it has motivated me less and given me less hope than I had in the beginning. But I still like to manifest that this is just a temporary thing, this feeling and this rut that I'm in. But we shall see. So the reality is about moving back home is that you lose sort of an independence, and you really do. I mean, not even that, just privacy. It's like you go from living by yourself, doing whatever you want, to people constantly being like, what are you doing? Where are you going? You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't eat that. There's always going to be a voice in your ear, and it's going to be your parents or whoever that you move back in with, like your guardian or, a loved one. And you start to feel frustrated. You start to feel stuck. You feel like nothing is working for you. And you feel that this could have been like one of the biggest mistakes ever, because even if you were struggling and you had your ups and downs, you still had freedom and independency, which you no longer have because it is sort of stripped away from you, and it is very much ripped away from you without even knowing it. And it's sometimes a full blunt force, and sometimes it happens gradually, but it happens. It really does happen. And adjusting to like family routines, like it's so different. And when I say like when you lose like the privacy, it's like, yeah, I'm able to like walk around and everything like that. But when I don't live in a city, I moved back into a small town because my mom, I am a military brat. And so I do live overseas. And the town that I currently live in is very rural. And so like, yeah, I'm moving from big city to a small town in the middle of nowhere. But I'm still able to do what I want. I'm able to go out if I wanted to. If I had the money, I would have, like, I could go party, or if, I mean, there's no clubs here, but I could probably go find a bar. I think there's like 2 in this town. But I could do whatever I want. I can like go to the one coffee shop that we have here. But it's the idea of like when I wake up, I hear my parents. I hear them like moving things around and stomping upstairs, because one of my bedrooms in the downstairs area, I moved down there my senior year of high school. It's like you hear them walking around, you hear their conversations, you hear the music blasting, and that sort of privacy is gone. It's like I can do whatever I want, but at the same time, no matter what, they're still there. When you come from living by yourself and having that peace and quiet to coming back into a dynamic where it's a little bit disrupting and loud, that does take a toll on you. It does take a toll on you. Or it's like the constant screaming of your name. Can you come here? Can you do this and that? I'm laying in bed, so can you go to the kitchen and grab me this? Knowing that like they're on the same floor as the kitchen and I'm not. Love them though. It drives you crazy. I'm not gonna lie. It does drive you crazy. You get frustrated more easily. You may catch an attitude here and there, and they treat you like a kid again. And it's like, I'm no longer that girl anymore. It's like we have not lived together in over 4 or 5 years in my experience. So I'm just like, it's hard being put back in those shoes where like I'm just the little girl that made a mistake and is now living back with her parents. And I'm not gonna lie, I compare myself to others. I compare myself all the time to others, or people like, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, or we should plan a trip here, we should plan a trip there. And I'm like, our lives are completely different, which I completely understand. That's the one thing that I know, is that every life is not going to be the same. And I love that. But at the same time, I can't help to compare, because I'm just like, I can't pay this trip. I can't think about upcoming trips. I can't do anything because I need to worry about getting my life together so I'm able to do that again. So I compare all the time. I see people that are my age, or that are my age, and they are having a great place to live, and they have a steady income job where they're not really worried about bills, and they're paid off. Like I know a few people that have already paid off their student loans, and I'm just like, within less than 8 months, and I'm like, how great would that have been? How great would that have been? I'm happy for them, but at the same time, like, I can't help but feel a little bit of just like jealousy towards it. Not towards them, but towards like just the situation of like, man, I wish that could have been me, and it's not. I would say the good part about having moving in with your parents would be that you like have the pressure of like finances have like dropped. Personally, for me, that is the opposite. So, with being a military child and moving back overseas and living near a military base, I live in a rural um, town, and the base means that it's really, really small too. So the job opportunities are not going to be the same. And if you're a military child, if you live that life, you understand it's different. I've been here for 4 months and I still haven't found a job, and it's complicated because since I do live overseas, and I'm turning 23 next month, I have to find a job that's going to sponsor me living here, or I have to move somewhere else. My mom does retire, but she retires in November, so it's like I can't, like, I don't know where I would go. The job process here is so complicated and it takes a long time. You apply for a job, you have to wait a month because, like, it's an equal opportunity type of environment where they open a deadline, they end the deadline. After the deadline closes, and they usually do a month, then the website or whoever works at that part of the department, they will go through background checks. Once you pass those background checks, then they send your applications to the managers. And I'm not gonna lie, the people that work there, whatever job that you're applying for, they take a long time to get back to you. They really, really do. And it's such a long process. And then once you do get the job, I feel like when you, like civilian life, my previous job, like when it came to a background check, I just gave them my passport and that was it. This one is like I have to get my fingerprints, and then I have to go through like 8 different documents and paperwork, and each paperwork is not just a single piece of paper. It's like at least 2 pages long and it has so many questions. Like there is a very much like a procedure when it comes to it. And so my whole thing about having that financial pressure to be lifted has not. I'm unfortunately behind on bills and payments and loans and credit cards, and it does affect you because then I am sitting here like, what was the point of me moving back home when I don't have no money? The whole purpose of me moving back home was to relieve the pressure and to save money and to slowly get my life back on track when in fact nothing has happened. And it's very disheartening to think about that because it's just like, even when I was struggling, I was living paycheck to paycheck almost. My life was still moving and I just been stuck for the past 4 months. I have not worked in 4 months. I barely leave the house in 4 months. It takes a mental toll on you. And I think that's one of the things that people don't tell you about. You may not be paying rent, but you might have other bills to pay. And if you don't have a job, you're not technically doing the whole like plan of you moving back home in the first place. It's like, what was the point of it when you're not even doing the things that you need to do to get yourself back together, reset your entire life again? But I try to remain optimistic and hopeful. The pro to it, I would say, is like moving back in with my family. As much as I love my family so much, I do think we are better with distance. But I do think whenever I am feeling like everything's hard, every now and then they'll do something for me and I'm like, oh, I missed this, I missed that. Like my mom brought me lunch today and I was like, oh, she thought about me. This is amazing. And sometimes like we'll go out and they'll buy me stuff, or like me and my mom will go get a coffee, or we're just talking and gabbing instead of me having to call her like every day or on the weekends, just knowing the fact that we are in a different time zone. So it's like we have to like pick up the correct time. It's like sometimes I have to call her at work. So like being around my family is really nice, but there, like I said, it is a pro and a con in itself. And like I mentioned in the beginning, like they treat you like a child and they're constantly in your ear about stuff like, when are you going to get this? When are you going to get a job? Like, when are you going to pay this off? Or how long are you going to be here for? And I'm like, dog, I wish I could tell you. I really wish I could tell you. But here we are. Here we are. It just depends on your situation. I will say it really just really, 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 it really depends on your situation. And I hope that people have a better one than I do. I am not taking it for granted. I'm not trying to complain about it. But at the same time, like, it affects you. It really does. And your family can be a part of it, unfortunately. Also, just as much as that is nice, my social life is gone. I can text my friends, I can call them, but like I said, we're on different time zones. And like I see my friends, they're posting and they're going out and they're like having drinks and they're going to clubs and they're getting dinners and brunch together and they're just enjoying their life and enjoying their 20s. And I'm like, I miss that so much. I miss it so much. I don't have anyone here, unfortunately. And I can call them, I can text them, but it's never going to be the same when it's like I'm not there. And as someone that doesn't really have FOMO, I have developed FOMO. And it sucks. It really sucks. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not built for this. But I'm learning to. As someone that is an introvert and an extrovert, I know what it's like. I know how to live by myself and be alone. But this type of alone is something that I've never experienced in my entire life. And I feel like when I come out of this, like I am going to be a little bit more extroverted and want to spend more time with my friends, which is really nice. But currently at this moment, I hate it. I really, really hate it. But what I'm learning and what I have been telling myself, and like, there's a bug. I need to get out of here quick. But what I am learning, what I have been figuring out is that like every timeline's different. And I know that. And I know that my time is going to come and that I am telling myself and manifesting by the end of this month, I am going to have a job. I'm going to be starting it. I'm going to start to get paid. I'm going to be working next month on my birthday. I don't mind that whatsoever. But like, I know that things are going to get better. I just have to wait it out and have the patience. And I just have to keep reminding myself that, even though every now and then I'm just like, this is not going anywhere. And just knowing that, like, every now and then I have to take a step back before I can be able to take a step forward. I have to find my balance again. And just know that, like I said, my time will come. And I do believe that it will. And I'm still applying for jobs. And I am still actively looking at situations and looking at my finances and figuring things out and trying to be as communicative as I can with my family and my parents. And I'm just learning to be patient with myself and not put so much pressure and a little bit of hate on myself because of the situation that I'm in and not regret the decision. I can't keep telling myself I should have stayed in Seattle. I need to tell myself that, like, this is good for you. You're just in a rut, but it will very much pay off in the end. And I hope that you guys start telling yourself that too if you're in this situation. I just have to like remind myself, like, I'm in my 20s. I have a long way to go, and a lot of people are living this life with me. I'm not alone. And, you know, as much as I feel like I'm the only one experiencing this, there are going to be thousands of people that are experiencing the same thing as I am. And just because I don't know them doesn't mean that, you know, they aren't living this life and that, you know, we are feeling the same exact way and that others have felt this way and experienced this too. And look at them now. They're moving into their own apartment and finding a job and having so much money saved up. And so I know that this is going to be good for me in the end. I think I'm just still in the beginning part of it. And I just have to have the patience and just know and trust that, like, things will turn out the way that fate has for me, and that I will plan for myself to be. But I hope this helped. I hope, like, if you're watching this, I really hope that, like, you're not alone. If you're in your 20s or your 30s and you move back home, trust when I say you are not alone. I am feeling this way. You're feeling this way. Your feelings are not like, your feelings are valid. Your feelings are valid. Your thoughts are valid. I completely understand. I just really hope that one day we're going to look back on this and we're going to be like, well, look where we are now, not living at home. Okay, I think this is it. But thanks for watching if you watched this far in. And yeah, bye.